people, students, and also adults. It's today everybody is worrying because of the pandemic. You know that it's a worry. Overthinking is also there.
How did you get the information about the sir? I don't know. That's why.
Yes, I am part of Know Our Ekal.
Okay.
I'm a member of Ekal Vidyalaya.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Ekal Vidyalaya, Chennai. I'm part. Shadri, Amma Shankaran, Mr. Shankaran. We're all a group. We're all a family. So
once he met me in Bangalore.
I visited Bangalore and met Mr.
I add him in my friend list.
Very, very interesting. Very, very value addition. You know what you are giving to the society. Great value addition.
Thank you, sir. We are trying our best to motivate and give both ways, personal motivation and try to give Arogya also, strengthening also.
Correct. Healing happens actually.
Yeah, thank you. I can see even one new, off camera, if anybody like Mr. Naresh Kumar or Fatima Zarina, whoever can want to say 2 minutes we have.
Well, I want to say compliments to Arogya and Arogya team and entire Ekal. I'm from Delhi and I received this from Netherlands, this link from Ajay ji. So that was good, thankful to him. Let's see how it goes. I'm sure it will be adding a lot of value. And such programs do add value, definitely, no doubt about that. I'm involved with the Bharat Lok Shiksha Parishad and Gramothan and also Ekal Global. Thanks. Good luck.
Thank you. It's so nice to have you here, and we'll be always looking at guidelines from you. This is like from my side, it is very startup type. Like 4 months, I have started more into Arogya, though I am knowing Ekal from last 15 years, but I was more keen onto Arogya part and trying my best to get involved and present something interesting where people can take both interest, personal and Arogya interest.
It's 11:20.
हो गया बस शुरू करें नलिन नहीं दिख रहा है माकन जी एक सेकंड नलिन हैव यू जॉइंड बैक Aditya you can start that Omkar please.
Yes.
As per our Ekal culture, we start the program with the 3 Omkar. Aditya, no volume.
Yes, ma'am.
Volume नहीं है वापस start करो please.
Okay. स्पीड नहीं आ रहा आवाज
वो दिखा रहा है या देखो
थोड़ा धीरे करो ना.
ಏನು ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
Nalin, you can start, Nalin.
Actually, I think it's your phone problem. Your phone perfect ಆಗಿ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಲ್ಯಾಪ್ಟಾಪ್ ಜೊತೆ.
ಹೌದಾ?
iPhone 6.
Empowering of women through Arogya Yojana. Health of a family is the responsibility of a lady, so we encourage women in the village to come forward as Arogya Sevika and Sanyojika. We observe that large number of women are suffering from anemia. Hence, we took a program of anemia control through. Next slide. Next. Next slide, please.
This is next.
Through health education, nutrition, iron supplement, deworming, treatment, and maternal and child health. Health education. Health education to prevent anemia by improving nutrition of the family. Next slide, please. Cleanliness of self through personal hygiene and community sanitation through Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Next, please. Nutrition. We taught them nutrition value of locally available food like green leafy vegetables and by using iron utensils. Next slide, please. Next slide, please.
I speak on iron supplement, please.
अभी न्यूट्रिशन ही आ रहा है मेरे यहाँ पे. When we require iron supplement, we distributed capsule of iron folic acid after hemoglobin test. Yes. Next, deworming. The deworming of women and children is done by giving albendazole by Arogya Sanyojikas. Treatment. Next slide. Treatment of common diseases causing anemia like excessive blood loss during menstruation is also done by lady doctors and are taught about hygiene by Arogya workers. Next. Maternal and child health. Arogya Sanyojikas promote, educate and facilitate the antenatal checkup of the pregnant women of the village. Promotion of 5 cleanliness of the time of delivery and immunization of children and making national health program reach equal villages. अभी मैं डॉक्टर वानी आलूवालिया जी को निमंत्रित करूंगा हमारा मार्गदर्शन करें.
Dr. Vani ji is not yet logged in. 2 minutes for her. She is in another meeting. She'll be joining in the meanwhile.
Dr.
Just,
Jean, RN Mehta is there.
we can ask Dr. R.N. Mehta to speak up until Dr. Vani ji Ahulia joins us. Dr. R.N.
Yes.
Mehta ji.
सभी को एकल प्रणाम. It's a very good topic you selected over here, and as Nalin ji explained regarding our maternal and child health program, similarly we are having many other distinct programs also. For waterborne control diseases, we are having the soap pit system, keeping the village clean. We are going for the soap pit and compost this fertilizer and this thing for organic farming. Similarly, survey of the entire village is being done. We have gone for the telemedicine also. So in this way, we are promoting the health this thing, and mainly our stress is on the preventive aspect only. For curative aspect, we are having telemedicine, and for that the things are in the process, and in certain states it's already going on. It's all sufficient, and because it's already time is at 11:29, so everybody is waiting for our main speakers this thing.
आप 2-3 मिनट बोल लीजिए डॉक्टर साहब, बिकॉज वाणी जी ज्वाइन कर रही है 2 मिनट में, तब तक आप बोल लीजिए.
अच्छा अच्छा, हाँ. और इसके साथ साथ ही जो है बहुत ही एक कई कार्य जो कर रहे हैं इसमें, जैसे नलिन जी ने ऑलरेडी बताया कि एनीमिया के लिए एनीमिया का टेस्टिंग करके उनका 3 महीने के बाद में दिया था. और मेनली इसमें स्ट्रेस जो है डाइटरी मॉडिफिकेशन पे ज्यादा दिया जाता है. सपोर्टिव ट्रीटमेंट जो है आयरन, फॉलिक एसिड and this thing, it is being done only for a limited period, and afterwards it is being maintained with the dietary modification. Same in same way, similarly, presently we are training our this Arogya Sevikas and Sanyojakas, Sayojak for all the national programs also, awareness of this thing, so they can aware the villagers about this all national programs and this thing, so they can utilize the government services properly. Many schemes are there for the poor persons, but they are not knowing the schemes, and so they not in position to use this thing. And we are having this Poshan Vatikas, nutritional garden. Similarly, medicinal plants also we are growing. And in the Jharkhand, our this thing, we are having medicinal plant nursery. From there, it is being distributed to many places. So similar type of things can be done over there also. So this way, we can continue with this thing. I think Dr. Ahluwalia has already joined. So now I switch over to Dr. Vani Ahluwalia. Please, you continue your this thing.
डॉक्टर वानी जी आ गई है. नलिन, प्लीज कॉल her.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Now you continue.
Yeah, good
Nalin?
morning. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
हाँ, वानी अहलूवालिया जी हमारे नेशनल सेक्रेटरी ऑफ आरोग्य योजना है. मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा वानी जी को कार्यक्रम.
Namaskar. Very good Sunday morning to all of you, and gives me great pleasure to speak to all of you this chapter today. This chapter has started with a lot of energy, and we are quite hopeful that this energy is going to be transformed into visible work in the fields. Nalin ji, मैं इंग्लिश में बोलूं कि हिंदी में?
Anything is fine. Anything is fine.
English is fine.
So, sorry?
English, please.
Okay.
No.
So once again, I really want to congratulate all of you that you have taken an initiative to be a part of a movement which is functioning to empower the rural parts of our country. As you know that our country dwells in the rural areas. 80% of the population is in the villages. And it is this village population that is devoid of a lot of facilities that we urban dwellers are able to avail of. Especially during the corona period, what has happened is that villagers are not able to come into the city to seek medical aid or medical consultation. And we have also noticed that economically, a lot of our brothers and sisters have damaged their economic potentials because of a general slowdown that has occurred globally. Ekal Arogya Yojana is facilitating preventive measures in the villages to alleviate a lot of medical related problems. We are also working for social and cultural upliftment. I'll take about 2 minutes to just appraise you. So our basic structure is an Arogya Resource Center, which comprises 30 villages. Each village is represented by a Sevika. She's a married woman who represents her village. She's an empowered woman. She is also an idol because people seek her for advice. After that, we have, the Prabhari and then the Sanyojaks, and that tire goes on increasing. The state level, a state coordinator. One state coordinator handles 3 ARCs. The Sevika's work is divided into a lot of categories. First, we can see Prachar, that is in our urban language, advertisement. So she makes the village women participate in Devar Lekhan, slogans, Prabhat Fairies, rallies, Nukkad Nataks. She visits families and takes surveys about, who all are senior citizens, pregnant ladies, anemic patients, cancer patients. She also visits schools for similar surveys and tries to encourage students for a lot of nutritional modifications in their diet, a lot of hygienic measures such as washing their hands, cutting their nails, keeping their hand clean, wearing slippers and shoes. She also encourages people to abstain from open air defecation and to use bathrooms and toilets. One very important part of the work that Arogya is doing in the villages is regarding health and sanitation. So we promote cleanliness of villages, waste disposal, soak pit constructions. Please turn the, please mute kar dijiye. Soak pit constructions, prevention of open air defecation. Along with this, we have she conducts meetings with the Gram Samitis. She helps in coordinating health camps, which could be of a diagnostic nature, such as anemia detection, nutritional advice. Another very important aspect of her work contribution is to encourage the construction of Poshan Vatika and Aushadhi Vatika, that is nutritional garden and a medicinal garden. She also encourages some common herbal remedies, which could be very easily available articles in the kitchen itself, like ajwain, jeera, dhania, uh, dalchini, for common household remedies. We also have activities related to vermicompost methods of farming, so that it's used for organic farming, plantations. I'd like to tell you that these soak pit construction in the villages reduces mosquito-borne diseases, waterborne diseases, and one very important contribution is that it raises the water table in that area. So for those of you who know that certain areas, the construction of bore wells and tube wells is banned because of very poor water table availability, this is a very good method to enhance the water table. Women empowerment again becomes a very important aspect of her work. As I told you earlier, that she's an identified person in the village, and people seek up to her for advice, for activities, for medical help, for herbal remedies help. So we've added value to their contribution in society. One very important project that we've been doing is the Sathi pads. So this was done in Jharkhand as a pilot project, and about 1100 ladies were given pads free of cost. And we are gradually trying to inculcate this dictum of ladies using menstrual pads, instead of the old-fashioned methods. What I don't know whether you all know about this, but we also conduct an externship program, that is a pre-medical externship program for students from the US. Every year, about 25 to 30 students from the US come to India. We've had such exchange programs in Gujarat and in Jharkhand. They attend the medical facilities in a government setup or a private clinic or a private setup in these areas, and they go back with very good memories about how our medical facilities being made available to our rural brothers and sisters, and also these children get a connect with the cultural heritage of the country where they inherently belong to. I want to tell you something which is really very it's a great matter of pride and dignity, that most of the doctors who are associated with the Ekal Arogya Yojana, including me, we like Dr. R.N. Mehta, Dr. Bhaumik Upadhyay, we are all volunteers. We are working round the clock with Ekal Arogya Yojana, but we are all 100% volunteers. This is purely a service to society, to our country. And I would like to put it like this, that I consider myself as a soldier in this Arogya army, Ekal Arogya army. I'm not able to go to the frontier borders, to fend for my country. But this is the best way that I can contribute to it, probably uplifting my rural brethren, so that a change that begins from the villages is personified, is consolidated, and as a whole, as a team, we can contribute to making India a Vishwaguru. Jai Shri Ram, Namaskar, and Ekal Pranam to all of you. Thank you for listening to me so patiently. And I am really hopeful that the Bangalore chapter is going to develop activities and ARCs by leaps and bounds, and we are always there to support. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Vani, for a wonderful introduction about Arogya. With the cooperation from the central team, we hope that our Bangalore chapter will do well ahead of time. And we are just in our infancy. We are like little babies yet to be born, or just partially. So work is just getting started in Gadige village. We have identified the Sevikas. So we just want the support of the central team, from encouragement from all of you, from all the members. And thank you again for joining us for this meeting today.
There's something I'd just like to say, madam.
Yeah.
Now that you said that you're still in the infancy,
Yeah.
तो मैं हिंदी में बोलूंगी कि मेरा मानना है कि बच्चा जो होता है वो गीली मिट्टी होता है. तो अगर आप अभी भी छोटे बच्चे के रूप में, स्वरूप में आप देख रहे हैं बैंगलोर चैप्टर को, तो ये मान के चलिए कि ये गीली मिट्टी है और इसको आप जो रूप देंगे वो उसी रूप में धारण होगा आगे जाके.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So all the
Thank you
best.
so much. Thanks. Yeah. So next, I would like to welcome our guest speaker. Is Dr. Mukherjee here, Nalin?
No. Now it will be
Yeah.
Dr. Javli.
Dr. Javli. Yeah, next we will, I like to welcome Dr. Vivek Javli. He needs no introduction absolutely in Bangalore. He is one of the leading cardiothoracic surgeons. So you have the slide?
Yeah, slide is there. Aditya?
Okay. To give an introduction, to make it concise, I had to make 2 slides at least, because there is so much to his credit. So Dr. Vivek Javli is a cardiothoracic and vascular surgeon in Fortis Hospital. He has done over 30,000 cardiothoracic and vascular surgeries to his credit. He has performed India's first beating heart bypass surgery in 92 minimally invasive bypass surgery, which means with very, very minimal things, you do the bypass surgery, and awake cardiac surgery, where the patient is awake. So, and he has done this in a 74-year-old patient first in April 2002, along with other valve replacement also. And he's also done transabdominal bypass surgery. For many of you that are not in the medical field, this may sound, may not be able to understand, but these are very, very complicated procedures that not many people in the world also know how to do. So we are very proud to have somebody with us. Yeah, next please. Yeah, and Dr. Javli is also a recipient of the Harvard Lifetime Achievement Award for Medical Excellence in India in 2006. He is the only Indian on the editorial board of Innovations, which is a journal very internationally recognized. And he has been the past president of Cardiothoracic Vascular Surgeons. He is executive council member, Association of Cardiovascular and Thoracic Surgery for Asia for the last 15 years. And above all, he is a very simple, down-to-earth person who's very interested in the well-being of patients, and you know, he will extend his helping hand to anybody that needs it. So over to you, Dr. Vivek Javli.
Welcome, sir.
Welcome, Doctor.
Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes.
Yes.
You can hear me. Thank you very much for to Jayashree, and I understood about this organization. I have spoken to Mukul on phone, who has given me a little more sketchy details. My background is multifarious. I come from a very micro-rural area on the border of Maharashtra and Karnataka, where I grew up in a farm, which was not even a village. So I had a glimpse till my completion of school about what is rural India all about, because my parents are in agriculture and most of my family is in agriculture. The half of my professional life, I have lived in government sector, in the state government sector. I was responsible for creating this Sri Jayadeva Institute of Cardiology in Bangalore, and I have worked as a professor there for 11 years, and I'm closely in understanding about how the state government works. I was on MCI, Medical Council of India, for many years. So I have a glimpse in the working of the central government. So I'm giving this background of mine because I have a bandwidth and understanding of how both government and corporate sectors work, because for last half of my professional life, I have been in the corporate sector, hardcore corporate sector. I'm now the chairman for the cardiac sciences of the Fortis Hospital Group, 4 hospitals of Bangalore. And I was also on the board of directors of the Wockhardt Hospital, which became the southern wing of the Fortis Hospital. So from that background, I thought I would give what I feel is a bit of a bird's eye view as I view at the rural healthcare. The urban side of the poor people, there are many NGOs to take care of them. So I feel that it might be a good idea for somebody like us to focus on the micro-rural areas of India where there is not reach. So the first would be a database to recognize where help is required. A dana, donation done satpatri, is more important than apatri. So what influences the healthcare behavior in the rural area? One is the healthcare behavior, and second is the actual clinical care. The healthcare behavior, I would say, understanding about the personal hygiene by every village individuals, tobacco consumption, alcohol consumption, and the sexual hygiene, including pregnancy planning. It has many social and economic factors: education, income, social support in the family and in the locality, and awareness about facilities on avoiding trauma. Trauma is very important as the days are passing by and as the roads are becoming death traps, and also farm injuries are becoming worse day by day. Apart from that comes the clinical care. The clinical care, what I see in villages, the most important is accessibility. In accessibility, establishing partnership with transportation services, because patients will, many of them, at least 25% of them will have to be transported out. Contracting with bus services, hiring drivers, working with community partners such as the homes, or from where we can conduct community needs, even assessments of community needs. Then leveraging paramedics and other community health workers and large volunteer army of medical specialists and senior GPs of that area, especially young internists, young general medicine guys. At least 30% of them would be brimming with energy to give at least some hours of their week to volunteer for this kind of a service. And internal medicine people are the most people. If we can tap this 25 people from our region, so at least 50 people from the entire of Karnataka, I think we will have a large pool of an army for telemedicine. The quality of this whole clinical care is also important. Again, quality is assess and quality are intertwined, and the difficult to de-link both of them. So care assess of rural areas are based on several assumptions. Most important, I would like to focus today, and what we are trying to focus is the telehealth, telemedicine. Today, we don't have to put telemedicine in every tower. A simple smartphone is telemedicine. And today, every villager that I meet is savvy to use a phone and some amount of data on the phone. And those who do not know can be trained very easily. And at least if you train the youngsters in the family, it can percolate to the older. So telehealth is one, and the cheap pads are another one. So if we have a single doctor clinic or a healthcare worker, a pad given to them is sufficient, or even a cheap phone is sufficient. And today, 4,000-5,000, a cheap phone is available. After hours and the same day appointment. If we have this battery of 25 to 50 people, and if we have a good understanding with them, I think this after hour emergency appointment and finishing somebody coming from a remote area to our clinic, same day appointment is again not a problem. Staffing shortage. Staffing shortage, we will need to struggle a little bit, but I think nothing like having these connections with this internist who also.
Meeting चल रही है. मैं क्यों नहीं?
Can you mute all your phones, please? Please mute yourself. So I think the staffing problem can also be helped by a lot of partners that we can create in our areas. The quality measures for healthcare providers could be improved by risk adjustment for factors in the rural environment. That means we have to be more locally thinking. And so more and more jugaad that we develop in our habits, I think we could sort out more and more problems. If we come to Karnataka, 4 different parts of Karnataka, the language spoken is different. A Bangalorean speaking Kannada to a person from Gulbarga, he would hardly understand what you are speaking. So adjusting to the local language, somebody who is locally there on telemedicine, translating what you spoke, even if you are speaking the Kannada language, is also important. So local language interpretation. Applied healthcare literacy. Applied healthcare literacy, the ready vernacular pamphlets or simple idiot-proof films on problem prevention for different issues. Say, for example, we spoke to somebody on white discharge of a lady. Now, a pamphlet, after the end of the consultation, if you give this lady's family a pamphlet on white discharge or a small film on the vaginal infection. Now, there are people in Bangalore, youngsters, there are many filmmakers in Bangalore. We can at least outsource 5 people who could volunteer and allow us to use their studio. If some of the young doctors could sit with them a couple of nights, because the editing takes a long time. And if we can create small idiot-proof, simple films, those films later on, you can make it in North Karnataka Kannada, South Karnataka Kannada. We can even add Hindi on it, English on it, simple local Indian English on it. And we could have many films. But I think problem-based learning on preventive health for that family would be important. So when they face a health problem, end of the treatment, you give them pamphlets or films. Our health worker can sit down with them patiently and on the pad on the phone, make them see that film that we have WhatsApped to them. And I think that education will go a long distance. And at the end of 5 years, we will have a large number of families who would have got educated in a very purposeful, appliedly purposeful manner. Then the local religious centers of worship and the priests. I think these are the most important people, whether it is the Hindu population of the village, or the Muslim population of the village, or the Christian population of the village. All of them are very subservient to their priest. If we can have some time.
Doctor Saab, you got muted, sorry.
Unmute. Can you hear?
Yes, yes.
So I think if we can initiate, encourage, and make these religious people, the priests, understand what selfless service we are doing, how it is win-win to every visitor to their place of worship, whether it is a masjid, church, or a mandir, and whatever satsang they are doing in their own way, and how they can actually take credit for what we are doing, I think our penetration would be much dramatic. Then the next part comes affordability. Affordability by our population whom we are helping, and affordability by us, the Arogya Foundation of Karnataka. Accuracy and simplicity of annual budgeting. Annual budget should be neither over ambitious nor over modest. And once we have a correct budgeting, then we know what is our financial need. And then with this financial need that we have nicely created on one single page, whichever donor that we go for, I don't think it is worth to go to single personal donors or family donors. There are enough organizations, say for example, organizations who could be in a mindset to help an organization like ours, maybe RSS minded people. And if we can present them for their CSR, what Arogya Foundation can do to the micro-rural areas of Karnataka, I'm sure that 100 people you approach, at least 20 or 22 people would be game to give some squirrel share. We get 100 squirrel share, that will be a lot of money. And then individual donors could be tagged to individual patients. Say a patient requires a heart surgery, a cancer treatment, an organ transplant, has to come to Bangalore, Belgaum, Davangere, Mysore for such a treatment. Then you could tag to say a couple of hundred families who have, please mute your phones, please. And then we could tag them as to adopt this family or that particular patient. To do this, we will require a separate management vertical of a medical social worker department. Medical social workers, if you approach to some of the leading colleges and the social work departments could lead us to a lot of medical social workers who are senior, who may be working for some organizations, but at least 25% of them could be game to volunteer and help us. Or if we have funding, we could actually employ a medical social worker, preferably a female, give her a laptop, give her a data connection, and let her and him or him say use first 3 months only to create a database of possible donors, organizations and families and individuals. And then after the 3 months of a correct massive database collection, then we can allow these people to go behind one by one, these people to either actually fund, donate to our corpus, or to be ready or to be agreeing for adopting patients who may require costly management to be moved from the village, brought to the cities. And then on top of all this, I remember a very classic example for a modest organization like us of the nation of Israel. I was a part of the Prime Minister's delegation of biosciences to Israel to study their models for the states. Israel is a very different kind of healthcare. And I think if you look at healthcare to the lowest grassroots, Japan and Israel really excel. Their database is complete. Israel is totally private. They slice the country into 4 pieces, and each piece is auctioned to a health management organization. And there are many competing to win that bid. And that person, most of their head offices are in Tel Aviv, but most of them would get connected to a major hospital in Tel Aviv, like the Sheba Hospital, or hospitals in Haifa and hospitals in Jerusalem and places like that. And like what I was talking about, 50 general medicine guys across Karnataka, these hospitals would be their resource of the doctors who would do the telemedicine. And all these people are paid, and these are all very rich organizations. But you could adapt, you could jugaad, you can adapt it to our need, and we could actually study their model of Israeli healthcare on the Google, or if somebody is visiting Israel, we could go and meet one of these head office of one of these places, say where there's a small village where there may be 500 houses or 300 houses, and all houses are Arabs who have a kind of an anti-Israel stand. Even these people, how every individual is a database, and how every individual having a painful ear, purulent discharge from the ear, on the same day appointment, somebody high-fi ENT surgeon can see on a telemedicine that patient, and the health worker can put the horoscope in the ear, show the image to the doctor in Haifa, in Tel Aviv, and the solution can come immediately. Most of the time, the solution is very simple. It is local, and also another thing is for clinical care, creating at every local places enough stock of generic medicines. And for that, say for example, Microlab drug company, the pharmaceutical company, which is a huge company, all India presence. It is based in Bangalore. It is owned by Dilip Surana, who's a very philanthropic guy. We go sit with Dilip Surana. He can always put us onto one of his major sidekick managers. And they can, because this is cheap for them, to give us a big stock of some generic medicines like paracetamol, painkillers, or whatever simple anti-worming, deworming agents. We can do that with Wokhart. We can do that with the Jagdale group, and so on and so forth. I mean, we are only limited with our imagination. So this is my bird's eye view. But I would say that for a literate, for a little modern, little more vibrant state of Karnataka, we should focus on telehealth, and second is creating proper manpower infrastructure partnered, and thirdly, the fundraising. Fundraising has to be done in a professional manner, not in a fuddy-duddy manner of raising goodwill. And if you are talking about professional manner, that means we must have a learned postgraduate medical social worker. She or he knows how to approach this whole thing in a professional manner, have a proper business vertical on this, and a laptop, a data connection, and a proper database creation across Karnataka. There are certain sect of our societies like the Marwadis, the Shettis, the Mudliyars, and many big Muslim families. Muslim families many times insist on helping only Muslims. Is okay. Every village has a population 10%. They could only do for them, but doesn't matter. But we can mop a lot of, if we have a proper database, we can do a very ambitious fund. With these few words, I close my talk here. And I again thank you very much for this presentation. And you cheers of doing this for Karnataka. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Javli. That was very enlightening. A lot of points, things that we didn't even think about. So your guidance and advice is taken, and we have made note of it, and we will discuss, since it's a very new program, we will make sure that we implement. And along the way, we will need your guidance and support too. And thanks a lot for joining this program. Thank you. So next will be our speaker, Dr. Praveen Tripathi.
No.
Okay. Yeah, Dr. Sarita Bansali, she is our president of the Arogya Foundation Bangalore chapter. I would like to give her the
Ekal Namaskar to everybody. Ekal Namaskar to everybody. I don't know why I'm not on a highlighting mode. So I am on the side mode.
We can see you on the screen. Main
Okay,
screen.
fine. So that is the, it was very nice listening to Dr. Javali and seeing so many people attending this event. Arogya Foundation is always, everybody now must be knowing what is it, because Ekal has different type of format. In that is Arogya Foundation, where we'll be working towards the rural area and giving the awareness about the health awareness through the local ladies who will be trained to take care of the entire village. Small problems can be sorted out. That is the main our concept about Arogya Foundation. And every month we come out with a new topic on this event, because people until unless we give them something knowledge, they won't be knowing what to see and what is there in Arogya. And there is endless things to learn in Arogya. So last we had once a topic about blood donation, then we had shown about the Arogya working in Rajasthan area. Ekal has reached up to 1 lakh village, but Arogya has reached only up to 1100 village. And in South, it has not yet started. And we are planning to start by December. The little work is taking, because of the language differences, whatever the study or training material we have, it was already in a Hindi or English, which is getting converted into Kannada. Once if it starts, then we can do the training of those like we call as a sevikas, but they are as a nurses who will be trained. So the work will start by December, I think so. And by January, hopefully we'll be able to launch 30 villages working under an Arogya Foundation. And one more thing, those who have joined, they must be little bit interested in knowing what is Arogya, what is Ekal, and it is their interest field. I would like you to say say everybody, keep on joining. Please be support us, motivate us by joining. Give your little time. Once a month, we want your time. I don't want to take too much of time. I think very shortly that Dr. Praveen G. Tripathi will be joining us. Before that, I would like to just share a small video about 1 minute, and then we'll pass on to Jayashree. She will introduce Dr. Praveen G. Tripathi. So Praveen, it is a video of mine. Thank you.
एकल नमस्कार। एकल विद्यालय के बारे में सभी लोग जानते हैं और एकल मूवमेंट के 5 आयाम हैं और हर आयाम में अच्छे काम हो रहे हैं। उसी का एक आयाम आरोग्य है जिससे हम सब जुड़े हुए हैं और हमारी हर वक्त कोशिश रहती है कि हम आरोग्य में कुछ न कुछ नया करते रहे और आप लोग इसमें जुड़े हुए, उसका मतलब आपका इंटरेस्ट आरोग्य से है। बट ये क्या है क्या नहीं है, यही हम आप लोग को बताना चाहते हैं। इससे जुड़े रहिए और हर महीना कोई ना कोई एक वेबिनार करके आपको हम लोग इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे लाते हैं। पूरे भारत में आरोग्य कहीं ना कहीं हो रहा है, बट साउथ में अभी डेवलप नहीं हुआ है। इससे साउथ एक लिटरेट शहरों में से आता है साउथ, पर नॉर्थ में आरोग्य बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत है। लेकिन अभी जब कोरोना के पीरियड में ये ऐसा वक्त आया तो हमें पता चला, चाहे लिटरेटेड हो या जो भी हो, पर स्वास्थ्य की जानकारी और अवेयरनेस बहुत जरूरी है। इसलिए हम कोई ना कोई जानकारी देते रहते हैं। ये सिर्फ गांव वालों के लिए नहीं, हमें भी कई तरह की जानकारी है। जैसे हम लोगों ने ब्लड डोनेशन अवेयरनेस का वेबिनार किया। सिर्फ एक सब जानते थे कि ब्लड डोनेशन, बट वो कैसे होता है, क्यों जरूरत है, उसके बारे में बताया गया। और इस बार हम बता रहे हैं अपने मनस्थिति के बारे में, क्योंकि होता है हम बहुत कुछ अपने मन में रखते हैं, किसी से शेयर नहीं कर पाते हैं, और अगर शेयर करते हैं तो कोई भी ये बोलता है कि अरे मेंटल साइकेट्रिक को दिखाओ, और वो सुनते ही सामने वाला बोलेगा मैं क्या पागल हूँ। कोई भी दिमागी स्थिति स्वस्थ न होने की वजह से हम पागल नहीं होते, बट उसका इलाज तो होता है। इसी संदर्भ में आज डॉक्टर त्रिपाठी जी हमें ये बताएंगे कि किसी भी चिंता का कारण क्या होता है और उसका निदान क्या होता है। और हम हमेशा सोचते हैं हमें बहुत कुछ जानकारी है। कोई भी इंसान पूरी दुनिया को, संसार को एक जन्म में क्या 7 जन्म में भी नहीं समझ पाता है, बट हम कोशिश करते हैं कि जितना कुछ जानकारी दे पाए ये हमारे इस आरोग्य के लिए और हमारे स्वयं के लिए भी बहुत अच्छा है। उम्मीद करती हूँ कि आप हर वक्त इसी तरह जुड़े रहेंगे, आरोग्य के खातिर भी और खुद के लिए भी। थैंक यू।
Jayashree, Dr. Praveen ji has joined. You can introduce him and call him for the next.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so today's topic will be on overthinking. And this is the right time, apparently, because of Corona and so many other things, lockdown and so on. People tend to worry a lot. So he's going to speak with us. So we welcome our guest, Dr. Praveen Tripathi. He is from Delhi. And he's did his MBBS from University College of Medical Sciences in Delhi and MD Psychiatry from the prestigious Institute of Human Behavior and Allied Sciences, Delhi. He also underwent training at the world-renowned Mount Sinai School of Medicine, New York, USA, and Kansas University Medical Center, Kansas. So Dr. Tripathi underwent training in magnetic stimulation therapy from Harvard Medical Center. So he has wide range of experience working here and abroad, and in Harvard University. He's a consultant psychiatrist and his area of interest are adult and child psychiatry. So he is also an author of Review of Psychiatry. He has published a lot of research articles. And we are very proud to have, please mute, please. Yeah. And we are very proud to have you amongst us, Dr. Praveen Tripathi. And over to you. Thank you.
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me here. I'm Dr. Praveen, and do you want me to speak in English or should we continue the session in Hindi? I think we discussed that we will speak in Hindi, right?
Yeah, you can do both.
English is
We can have a mix of both, right?
Yes,
maximum लोग follow कर पाएं, ठीक है? तो अगेन थैंक्स अ लॉट। मैं आप लोगों का आरोग्य फाउंडेशन के बारे में थोड़ा सा पढ़ रहा था, वाज वेरी इम्प्रेस्ड विद द काइंड ऑफ वर्क जो आप लोग कर रहे हैं एंड माय बेस्ट विशेस। और आई होप कि इसी तरीके के प्रोग्राम से हम भी और जुड़ पाएंगे। तो लेट्स स्टार्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट द टॉपिक। वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट ओवर थिंकिंग। यहाँ पे जब हम ओवर थिंकिंग की बात करते हैं तो इसको हम दो तरीके से देख सकते हैं। एक तो ओवर थिंकिंग वर्ड जो कि हम डे टू डे लैंग्वेज में यूज करते हैं कि कुछ ज़्यादा ही सोचता है इंसान। कुछ लोग होते हैं जिनको थोड़ा सा चिंता करने की टेंडेंसी ज़्यादा रहती है। और एक दूसरा पार्ट उसका ये हो गया जिसको हम पैथोलॉजिकल बोलेंगे, जहाँ पे कि ओवर थिंकिंग इतनी ज़्यादा है कि हम उसको एक एंग्जाइटी डिसऑर्डर का डायग्नोसिस बनाते हैं। एक डायग्नोसिस होता है साइकेट्री में जिसको हम बोलते हैं GAD, जनरलाइज्ड एंग्जाइटी डिसऑर्डर। अगर आप जनरलाइज्ड एंग्जाइटी डिसऑर्डर के सिम्टम्स देखें तो उसका जो सबसे प्रमुख सिम्टम है, जो मेन सिम्टम है, वो आता है एक्सेसिव वरीज। इंसान जो है वो हर छोटी बात की चिंता करता है और ऐसी चीज़ें जिसको कि दूसरे इंसान बिना परेशान हुए, बिना उसको बहुत ज़्यादा सीरियसली लिए इग्नोर कर पाते हैं, उन चीज़ों को भी लेके इंसान बहुत परेशान रहता है। मन में ख्याल चलते रहते हैं, एक ख्याल से दूसरा ख्याल, दूसरे से तीसरा ख्याल, और उसमें बहुत सारा वक्त बर्बाद हो जाता है और बहुत ज़्यादा एनर्जी बर्बाद हो जाती है और उसके काफ़ी इम्प्लीकेशंस पड़ते हैं इंसान की पर्सनल लाइफ पे भी और प्रोफेशनल लाइफ पे भी। तो दोनों में डिफरेंस करना बहुत ज़रूरी है। तो अगर तो हम ओवर थिंकिंग की बात कर रहे हैं जो कि पैथोलॉजिकल है, जिसके अगर मैंने सिम्टम बताया, बहुत ज़्यादा चिंता होना, हर छोटी बात की चिंता होना, और कुछ फिजिकल सिम्टम्स। एंग्जाइटी के जो फिजिकल सिम्टम है वो इस तरीके के आते हैं। आप लोगों ने देखा होगा, फील किया होगा अपने आप में भी कि कभी मान लीजिए आप किसी बात को लेकर परेशान है, या मान लीजिए आपका एग्जाम आने वाला है। Okay, I think somebody is commenting why not in English. I think because we have a mix of both crowds.
Yeah, but अगर दो तीन लोग चाहते हैं कि पूरा इंग्लिश में हो तो you can continue in English, ठीक है?
No, but are we ensuring that everybody else is able to understand?
Yes, it's possible.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So do you want me to repeat it? Okay, let me continue from here. So what I was trying to say was that the anxiety disorder per se, when you talk about generalized anxiety disorder per se, then we say that the anxiety or the overthinking is pathological. And by pathological, I mean it goes beyond the realms of normalcy. The person is thinking excessively, the thought is going from one to another, and the kind of predictions that the mind makes are the extreme ones. Let me give you an example. For example, somebody mentioned about the COVID situation, which is prevailing across the world. Now, normal anxiety would be that I have to protect myself, I have to protect my family members, and what if I catch it? Right? These thoughts, if they come in the mind, they would be considered as normal anxiety. But if you're having anxiety disorder, your mind will kind of show you the extreme situation. The mind will not raise a question that what will happen if I catch COVID and how to protect myself from COVID. The mind will say that I will definitely catch COVID, and I will catch COVID. It would be the most serious COVID condition. I might have to go to ICU. What will happen of the finances? How would I pay for the hospitalization? What would happen to my children after me? And would they be able to get an education or not? So you can see the difference between the two approaches. In one approach, the questions were kind of realistic, right? But in the second approach, the questions that were popping up in the mind were extreme. And this is what anxiety does. Anxiety kind of ensures that the kind of thoughts that are coming in your mind, they're extreme and they are not so realistic. So this is what happens in GAD. Now imagine somebody who's having all these thoughts, who's having extreme thoughts. Now these thoughts may be paralyzing. The person might struggle to do anything in his personal life or professional life, because the thoughts are such that they will create a lot of anxiety, and the focus would shift from the normal day-to-day life functioning to preparation of these extreme situations. So this is how anxiety plays a huge role, and this is how anxiety starts interfering with the normal day-to-day life. Now, when we talk about the management of overthinking or anxiety disorder, again, we have to be very sure what we are talking about. If you're talking about normal day-to-day overthinking, which all of us have once in a while, let's start with that. How can we address that? The first thing that we must understand is our mind is not able to differentiate nicely between the real life situation and the imaginary things going on in your mind. I'll give you another example. Say you are sitting in your study room, or say you are sitting in your drawing room, and say maybe you were reading a book or you were looking at television, and suddenly you see something on the television or you read something that you're able to connect with your own life. Say you were reading a story, and the story was about a relationship between a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law, and you read it, and suddenly you were reminded of your own life. There was a time when you had some trouble with your mother-in-law, and you were suddenly reminded of that. Now what happens after that is you start making imaginary scenarios in your own mind. You start thinking, on that particular day she said this to me. What if I had responded by saying this? Now the imagination starts. What if I had responded by saying this answer? And then you further imagine, she might have responded by saying this. And then you again think that, okay, if she had said this, I would have responded by saying this. My husband would probably comment with this particular thing. And in a span of minutes, with all this imagination going on in your mind, you will observe that you're feeling angry. You're feeling agitated. Probably your blood pressure went up a little bit. Probably your muscles tensed. Maybe you're even having a bit of headache. So what I'm trying to tell you by giving this example is, just by having this imaginary conversation in your own head, where you are speaking for both the parties, your mind starts responding in a way as if it was really happening. And this is the problem with excessive thinking. When you let your mind go down that path, your body and your mind start responding as if it is happening for real. Same thing happens. Same thing is responsible for anger outbursts in many situations. Again, let me give you an example. Say you are in your office and you were called by your boss in his cabin. Now, the moment you got the call and the moment you got to know that you are being called, again, you have certain thoughts going on in your mind. You start thinking, maybe he'll scold me for this. And then you have thought, he always scolds me. He never says anything to anybody else. And this is so unfair. This office is so unfair. This world is so unfair. Once you have had all these thoughts, you are kind of primed. You're already a little bit angry, even without knowing what the boss is going to say. And with this mindset, when you enter into the cabin of the boss, even if he made a neutral statement, you are likely to, analyze or interpret that statement as if it is an offensive one, and you are likely to respond with anger. This happens with almost everybody. Once we are kind of primed in a particular way, we tend to misinterpret things happening around us, and we tend to have a emotional outburst. We tend to respond in a way which is not so productive. Now, these are some simple examples how these thought processes kind of have a huge influence, a very significant influence on the way we speak, the way we behave, and the way we feel. Right? So what can we really do about it? That is the big question. That okay, all this theory is good, but what to do? How to address it? Identification of these processes is the first step in addressing them. So I'll share with you something that I follow in my life. Whenever I go down that trip of thinking in my own mind and speaking for the other person and for myself, I always remind myself that this is in my head. These are my thoughts. They may or may not represent the reality. So if somebody calls me, or if I'm anticipating that I'm gonna get into a situation which might lead to some kind of conflict or some kind of exchange of heated words, before that I always tell me that whatever was going in my mind was my imagination. Let us not accept it as reality. And another thing, when I start having these chain of thoughts, I try to stop it at the first or second step, because once it has gone to a certain distance, it is difficult to come out of it. It is easy to stop yourself when you're having the first thought or the second thought, by reminding yourself that okay, this is just my thinking, it is not happening in reality. But if you have gone to 8th, 9th or 10th thought, then you're so submerged into it, you're so much immersed into it, that it's difficult to get out of it. So telling yourself again and again, this is my thought only, this is not the reality. This is the extreme situation that I'm thinking, it may or may not happen. And finally, telling yourself that even if it happens, what is the best that I can do? For example, say somebody is having thoughts about COVID, and they are thinking that, okay, what if I catch COVID? What if I get hospitalized? These thoughts are creating a lot of anxiety. But if you're at the same time able to tell yourself, okay, in extreme case, if I do catch COVID, what can I do about it? And if you answer yourself that, okay, it's fine. A lot of people are catching COVID, hardly 1 or 2% mortality is there. 90% people are getting recovered. And even if it happens, it's okay. That it can be taken care of by medical sciences. If you're able to say the positive things to yourself, then the whole intensity of those thought process takes a hit and you start feeling much better. So, first of all, reminding yourself that it is going in your head, it does not represent reality. Secondly, trying to stop that chain of thought on the first or the second step. And third, asking yourself that even if the worst outcome really happens, what can you do about it? What are your coping mechanisms? If I am using a bit of medical word, we tend to use this coping mechanism term. What can be my coping mechanism? Thinking about these three things go a long way and helping you in feeling better. But again, let me come back to the original point. These things are possible when you're having, if I can use the word, non-pathological anxiety. If the anxiety is not so much that a clinical diagnosis has to be made. But if a clinical diagnosis is being made, if you are sure that the person is having so much of overthinking, so much of worries that he or she qualifies for GAD diagnosis, generalized anxiety disorder diagnosis, then medical treatment is important. And in medical treatment, we talk about the medications and we talk about the therapy session. Now, a little bit about medication. A lot of people, a large number of people, even educated people, carry a lot of myths about the use of medications. I'm sure you guys must have heard about these sentences that if somebody starts psychiatric medications, he or she would have to continue those medications lifelong. That is one of the common things people talk to each other. In fact, many times when patients come to us and when we ask them, why did you take so long? Why did you not start the treatment early? They often respond that my uncle said, or my mother said, or my friend said that don't go to the doctor. Once you start taking medication, you will be stuck with medications lifelong. This is a myth. In reality, it doesn't happen. If you look at the treatment protocols for most of the disorders, mostly we say that treatment of 1 to 2 years is sufficient. In most of the cases, there are certain severe cases where the treatment may go for a longer period of time, but this lifelong treatment is a myth. It doesn't really happen. Second myth is people say that if you start treatment for any psychiatric disorder, you would be given sleeping pills and you would be incapacitated. You would not be able to do anything. You would keep on sleeping the entire day. Again, a big myth. Nobody gives sleeping pills to for all the medical conditions. Sleeping pills are only used in those conditions where there are sleeping problems. And also by sleeping pills, we don't mean something that will keep you sedated the entire day. So sleeping pills are not given in most of the patients. Third thing, a lot of people say that these medications are addictive. Once you start them, you would get addicted with them. Again, that's again a myth. Only those medications which come under the category of benzodiazepines, one small category, they can be addictive in the longer run. Otherwise, the medications are not addictive. Right? So these are some of the common myths that people carry about the treatment process. So what I want to try, what I'm trying to tell you is that overthinking in itself is a symptom. It could be because of a disorder like anxiety disorder or depression. And if there is a problem, then we have to get it treated. If we don't treat it, what happens is symptoms keep on piling up, the symptoms keep on getting severe, and later on the treatment becomes much more complicated. We can go with the medical treatment, we can go with the therapy treatment, but the essence is that these things are treatable and they must be treated. So this is what I wanted to share with you guys. Now, if you guys have any kind of questions, I would be happy to answer.
डॉक्टर त्रिपाठी जी, it would have been nice अगर आप वो एक छोटी सी आपकी जो कहानी है उस एक पेशेंट की, उसको जितने शॉर्ट में बता सको.
कौन से पेशेंट की?
आपका एक वीडियो में था ना कि वो he had come to me and he used to say कि I'm happy, I mean everything I have in my life, but मैं फिर भी
डिस्थाइमिया पेशेंट. अच्छा,
हाँ, तो थोड़ा सा शॉर्ट में, so that will take a overview about the overthinking and the thing.
हाँ, तो ठीक है. So there was this patient, I think मैंने इनको 2 साल पहले करीब देखा था, and so I still remember a very well-dressed gentleman entered my cabin, my OPD, and he sat down and I asked him what is going wrong, and the chief problem that he had was, he said, everything is good in my life, but I don't feel happy. And he went on to elaborate that I come from a good family. I went to IIT, did my engineering from IIT, one of the IITs, went to IAM, did my MBA, got into a good corporate company, got a very good job, was making a good amount of money, was married, had a kid or two, and even personal life was perfectly fine. But his complaint was everything around me is perfect. When people look at my life, they say that, okay, this is how life should be. But I just don't feel good. I'm not able to enjoy. I'm not able to feel happiness in anything. So I asked him that, okay, you have money and you have a good life, but is this the life that you wanted for yourself? Because many times it happens that even if you are making a lot of money, but say you wanted to be an artist, say you wanted to be a painter, say you wanted to be a singer, but you are stuck in a corporate job, you might not feel good even if you're making money. So his reply was, no, nothing of this sort. I always wanted to get into corporate. I always wanted to, get into this kind of life. And I always kept on thinking that once I reach the next step, when I was in class 12th, I thought that if I get into IIT, I'll be happy. That did not happen. When I was in IIT, I thought when I will get into IIM, I'll be happy. That did not happen. When I was in IIM, I thought once I get a good job, I'll be happy. Even that did not happen. And finally, I thought if once I get married, have a good family, I might become happy. But even that did not happen. So finally, he said that now almost everything that I wanted for myself has been achieved. Still, why happiness is eluding me. And this is what is called as a clinical condition called as dysthymia. So dysthymia is nothing but you can think about it as the milder version of depression. In depression, the symptoms are severe. People are so sad, so energy levels are so less, sleep is so problematic that they are not able to function. I'm sorry. That they are not able to function. But in dysthymia, what happens is the symptoms are not so severe. So the person keeps on having troubles, but the life goes on. As in this case, he went to IIT, went to IIM, he went on and got a good job. So life was going on, but the feeling of happiness was missing. Now, things like dysthymia are beyond your control. It is primarily a chemical imbalance. If you guys remember one of the famous movies, Hindi famous movies, Munna Bhai, Lage Raho Munna Bhai, and that there's a comment, na, chemical locha. So this is chemical locha, right? Everything is good, but if the chemical that makes you happy, if that is in short supply, no matter what happens around you, it would not make you happy. So in this particular patient, that was the case. He was having dysthymia, which is caused by deficiency of a chemical known as serotonin. And
Internet problem? How you know that it's internet problem? I'll have to check it.
Seems his Wi-Fi connection is frozen.
I think, is it connected now again?
सरिता जी फोन करो आप.
नहीं वही चेक कर रही हूँ, इंटरनेट में लॉगिन हुआ है, उनका डिस्कनेक्ट हुआ है क्या, चेक करते हैं.
No, he's still connected, it seems, but his Wi-Fi seems to be frozen. Now he got disconnected.
He'll re-log in, I think so.
Yeah.
Please call.
Dr. Javli. Dr. Javli, you had a question. You had raised your hand. I see that. Was it for Dr. Tripathi or was for Arogya members or?
No, it's not a question. Tripathi. There was something I forgot to mention.
Sure.
I wanted to make a comment. Am I audible?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. The comment I wanted to make was, I could understand from Mukul's and Jayashree's talk with me that the operations in South are a new thing for the foundation. And South, all the 4 states are smart states. The people here who would commit to volunteer would be serious. Once they commit, then their commitment would bring energy into it. And also, I feel that these 4 states, the operations may either go and show fantastic results and go very high and become a kind of a highlight for the foundation, or it may fail to take off. It may just get aborted. Among the reasons, apart from local passion of operations, the other important reason I feel is the North and South divide, which a lot of Northern friends of mine, innocently, without their hands-on knowledge of South, fail to understand. And that is why this question just now arose about English or Hindi. This is very important. You please sensitize the hierarchy in the center, that the people who conduct the operation in the South, there must be somebody sitting on the top who understands South. Number 2, you must be very sensitive on languages, especially as you go to the villages, that Hindi is a no-no. English is possible everywhere. And possibility for somebody to immediately translate in vernacular Kannada of that region. Or if you're in Tamil Nadu, especially if you're in Tamil Nadu or Kerala, this becomes extremely pronounced. But there is a lot of scope to work here. And I just wanted to drive that point, that be sensitive on this issue. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Doctor. That is
just trying to join back. I called him. He said internet was disturbed. I hope he is joined back. Yes, he is connected. हाँ डॉक्टर प्रवीण सर, प्रवीण जी आप कंटिन्यू कर सकते हैं.
I think the point that Dr. Javli made was actually very, very informative, very useful. So I think since we are new chapter, we'll keep that in mind for sure. And that is very helpful.
Dr. Praveen ji, unmute होके आप continue कर सकते हैं.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Apologies. So what was I saying? I was talking about serotonin. So in such situations, this is a common thing that comes in mind of people. For example, when Sushant Singh Rajput died by suicide, a lot of people said that he was a famous actor, he must have made a lot of money, and what was the reason? Why would famous people go and take such steps? So see, it does not matter how much fame you have or how much money you have. Finally, at the end of the day, all of us are the same people. Our emotions, our behavior, everything is dependent upon what is going on inside our mind. And if there is something wrong with those chemicals, then we are at the mercy of those chemicals. We can't do much about it. And history is full of such events where very famous people, very rich people ended up having depression or anxiety, or ended up committing suicide. We don't use the word committing suicide nowadays. We preferably say die by suicide. But the crux of the matter is that the amount of wealth that you have or the amount of fame that you have is no shield against development of anxiety or depression. And most of us have felt that even when we had very little of money, it was not that you were very sad. And once you start making some amount of money, it does not mean that you become really happy, right? So emotions go beyond all these things. So yeah, in the end, so that particular person, the story that I was telling, so we started him on treatment, and the problem with dysthymia is it takes a significant amount of time before people become better. So we started him on one medication. He continued taking it for almost a month, did not improve. I increased the dosage, did not improve. I added another medication, and finally, I think about after 2 or 3 months, he started becoming better, right? But that one sentence I always tell in my videos, and I will share with you guys too, that one sentence that he said once he became better is still stuck in my mind. This was like his 7th or 8th visit. He entered my OPD chamber, he sat down, and the first thing he said was, "Doctor, I feel cheated." He said, "Doctor, I feel cheated." And I was taken aback. I was like, "Why? What happened? Why do you feel cheated? Did my staff do something wrong? How did I do something wrong?" He said, "No, everything is good. I feel cheated because I'm perfectly fine today. And why did I waste 25, 28 or 29 years of my life? For the last 25, 28 years, I was not feeling good. I could not feel happy. I was trying to look for answers. What's wrong with me? And just 2 months of medication made it fine. So if it was that easy, why was it not told to me earlier? Why did I not take it earlier? And what about those 25 years that are gone?" And that was a very profound statement. Many times I tell this statement to my other patients who are not so convinced about treatment part, that see, this might happen. Now, to be fair, this one appears like a magic story, but it does not happen like this in every case. There are cases where we struggle with the results. There are cases where the results are not so good, or we find partial results. But there are certain cases where the improvement is immense. It is like another life for people. And that is what we must keep in mind when we are talking about mental illnesses. Mental illnesses are sometimes so subtle that people are not able to even identify them. And see, the problem with the psychiatric problems is that it comes with multiple difficulties at every level. Say today, if I become depressed and if I do not know about all this stuff, the first question that will come into my mind is, am I really depressed or am I being lazy? Am I really depressed or am I just overreacting? The first step is you struggle with yourself. It takes a lot of effort to even accept that, okay, something is wrong with me. And then the question comes, am I too weak? Everybody is going on with their lives. Why am I feeling depressed? Am I that weak? And then the second struggle starts, the so-called weak and strong component. When you go beyond that step, the third step comes of family members. The moment you talk with one of the family members that I'm feeling depressed, the answer is, "Aisa kuch nahi hota. Depression kuch nahi hota." And to pile to your misery, they say ki in our times you went through so much hardship. There was no food, there was no light. We never got depressed. And then they make you feel guilty, even if their intentions are good. Our intentions are not to bring you down. Their intentions are to cheer you up, but they are doing the exact opposite. After that pep talk, you start feeling even worse. That okay, I am the problem is with me. People went through so much hardship, nothing happened with them. I am the problem. The struggle does not stop here. In the fourth step, if you go and talk to your general physician, your medicine doctor, he is also likely to say the same thing. "Ye sab kuch nahi hota, this is all in your head." Start getting up early in the morning. The Rambad for every illness in the world. Start getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Your tuberculosis will become better. Your AIDS will go away. Your cancer will become better. Does not happen. By getting up at 6 in the morning, the illnesses do not go away. Although I must say that, getting up, doing exercises, all these are good habits, but they're habits. They're not treatment. They cannot be a substitute for treatment. And finally, you get the courage and you go and meet a doctor. So see, these are 5-6 steps. Now, this does not happen with any other illness. If you're having stomach ache, nobody tells you that you're weak. In our times, we used to take bad drinking water, but we never had stomach upset. Why is your stomach upset? Nobody says that, right? So this is I mean, very unfortunate, but unfortunately, this is how it is. That is why it is very important for all of us to understand that psychiatric illnesses happen. They are as much real as any other problem, and they're as much treatable. Unfortunately, medical sciences is not so advanced that we can treat them in 7 days. But then we can say the same thing for most of the problems. Most of us are wearing spectacles here. Sometimes when my patients come and say that I want to become better by myself, I tell them that, okay, become better by yourself, but first improve your eyes. You bring all the strength that you have and get rid of your glasses. once you get rid of your glasses, I will accept that by strength you can get out of psychiatric conditions. If you cannot get rid of your glasses by willpower, how can you get rid of depression by willpower? So, I mean, these analogy work. People finally understand that, okay, what he's saying makes sense. So again, it is our collective responsibility to understand these things, talk about these things with our near ones and dear ones, and definitely such seminars go a long way in spreading information about these problems.
So if anyone has any type of questions can be asked. Dr. Sam, आप 5 मिनट स्क्रीन है ना अभी आपके पास टाइम है ना 5 मिनट का?
अब मुझे तो लेक्चर ऐसा फीलिंग आ रहा है, मैं लेक्चर भी देता हूँ ना मैं बोलता रहता हूँ। I hope मैं आप लोगों को बोर नहीं कर रहा हूँ।
अगर जब तक कोई क्वेश्चन आते हैं, till any question comes, मैं 2-3 बातें बोलती हूँ। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मुझे इतनी खुशी हुई क्योंकि मेरी सोच अलग अलग होती है। मैं जैसे ही सोच रही थी कि मुझे इस टॉपिक पे बात करना है और मैंने जस्ट आजकल हर चीज सीख ली कि गूगल कर लो, तो YouTube पे सबसे पहले आपका वीडियो आया। मैं उस दिन से आज तक आपका इंतजार कर रही थी। 2 वीडियो एंड अभी आपको देखो इज द सेम थिंग, बट आई स्टिल फील कि यू आर लाइव एंड वी आर सीइंग यू लाइव। आई एम सो हैप्पी एट सच ए यंग एज आप ऐसी सोच रखते हो, क्योंकि जो डिप्रेशन वर्ड है आप बोलते हैं वो सही है।
मैं मेरी यंग एज नहीं है, मैं बालों में कलर लाके बैठा हूँ, आप ये उसमें
I can understand. तो I also just say share 1 second कि डिप्रेशन वर्ड मैंने भी सुना था, बट मुझे लगता था डिप्रेशन कुछ नहीं होता है। बट मेरी जिंदगी में भी एक लम्हा ऐसा आया और मैं मतलब उस लम्हे पे बराबर 9 बजे, क्योंकि मेरी एक रूटीन में सडन चेंज आया, आई यूज्ड टू बी इन टीयर्स। मैं सोचती थी क्या है, क्यों है, बट आई वाज लकी टू हैव कि मेरे विल पावर बहुत स्ट्रांग थे एंड आई ओवरकेम आउट ऑफ इट। बट मैं उसको एनालाइज करी तो आई रियलाइज कि यस दिस इज कॉल्ड डिप्रेशन। तो हर एक के में वो विल पावर नहीं होता है। एंड एज यू सेड कि दूसरी बीमारियां हर कोई बोलेगा अरे घरेलू दवाई ले लो या डॉक्टर के पास चले जाओ, बट जब ऐसी सिचुएशन आती है तो नोबडी गिव्स दैट टाइप ऑफ सपोर्ट कि तुम क्या फील करते हो, या तो शेयर करो या फिर चलो हम तुम्हें किसी साइकेट्रिक के पास ले जाए या काउंसलर के पास ले जाए। आई होप कि आज यहाँ पे 100-200 लोग जुड़े होते तो मुझे लगता कि मैंने भी 200 लोगों तक बात पहुंचाई है, बट आई होप कि आज ये जितने लोग हैं वो और 40 को पहुंचाएंगे। फर्स्ट थिंग आई एम सो हैप्पी अबाउट इट। एंड बिफोर वी कंक्लूड, इफ देयर इज एनी क्वेश्चन पीपल कैन से। एंड डॉक्टर साहब, हम आपको एक छोटा सा मोमेंटो देना चाहते हैं, तो अभी तो हम ऑनलाइन ही दिखा देंगे, देन विल बी सेंडिंग इट टू यू बाय पोस्ट। एंड आफ्टर दिस वी हैव आवर वन ऑफ नेशनल
अविनीश जी,
डॉक्टर आर.एन. मेहता जी, वो भी बात करेंगे। एंड टोटली
डॉक्टर अविनीश, डॉक्टर अविनीश।
हाँ प्रवीण जी, मेरा एक क्वेश्चन था आपसे, ये सोशल स्टिग्मा का, और इसके ऊपर आप जरा कुछ 2 लाइन का स्ट्रेस करेंगे तो ज्यादा बेटर है। सोशल स्टिग्मा और साइकेट्रिक ट्रीटमेंट के लिए।
सर हाँ सर, देखिए सोशल स्टिग्मा इज डेफिनेटली देयर अबाउट साइकियाट्रिक डिसऑर्डर, एंड before we criticize that stigma, we have to understand why did that stigma get developed in the first place. I tell you the reason, sir. Psychiatry is still a very new branch. Most of the medications that we are using, most of the treatment methods that we have developed, they were developed in last like 30 years. The first psychiatric medication was discovered in like 1960s. उसके पहले जो treatment methods थे, they were very brutal. I mean, giving people electroconvulsive therapy, every day, जब तक वो एकदम vegetative state में ना पहुंच जाए, that was used. There were treatment methods like insulin coma, insulin लगा के patient को coma में डाल दिया, putting people into the asylums. So from there, the legacy of the psychiatric treatment was really bad. People thought कि ये तो बहुत inhumane treatment है. And even today, sir, sometimes people are afraid of coming into psychiatric doctor's clinic. They have this thought that they will be captured, they'll be changed, and they will put into some kind of asylum.
Yes.
Imagine this thought process continues in 2020 in a city like Delhi, right?
Yes.
So you can imagine what must be happening in the rural parts or the remote parts of the country, right?
True.
So एक चीज सर, एक स्टिग्मा की लेगेसी वहां से आई। सेकेंडली, जो मेडिकेशंस 1960s, 70s, 80s में डेवलप हुई, they had a lot of side effects. Very bad side effects were there with almost all of them. So people actually became like zombie. दवाई खा के improvement तो आया, but you cannot do anything. You are either sleeping or just by looking at your face, it looks that there is something wrong with this person. So second problem वहाँ से शुरू हुई कि medications जो हैं they are very strong and they cause a lot of side effects. And 90s के बाद जाके we started getting good medications जहाँ पे side effects were minimum, and a person could see if one of us was taking one of the antidepressants, आप देख के बता नहीं सकते कौन क्या ले रहा है. Like if one of us was taking antihypertensive, कोई देख के नहीं बोल सकता ना कि antihypertensive ले रहा है. वैसे ही सेम सिचुएशन आज की तारीख में एंटीडिप्रेसेंट के साथ है. लेकिन 1970s में ऐसा नहीं था सर. चेहरे पे दिखता था क्योंकि देयर वर सर्टेन साइड इफेक्ट होते थे उसके. तो वो सोशल स्टिग्मा वहां से आया. इसीलिए जब हम लोग स्टिग्मा ब्रेक करने की कोशिश करते हैं तो वी डू नॉट सिंपली स्टार्ट लेक्चरिंग कि ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है, सब ठीक हो जाएगा. हम रीजंस देते हैं कि आपने ये बातें क्यों सुनी है. जब पेशेंट आके बोलता है कि सर इफ आई स्टार्ट मेडिकेशन आई विल बी स्लीपिंग द एंटायर डे, we tell them, see, this is not true. What you have heard used to happen in 1980s, but that does not happen any longer. If I just tell him कि ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता, he would not accept what I'm saying. उसके मन में तो वो है ना. But if I address the reason for his belief, then probably he would take a step ahead and he will be able to get into treatment. Right? So, sir, the stigma is based on misinformation. The only way to placate is information. The more we talk about it, the more information we spread, the better it becomes, and it is becoming better, sir. It is becoming better. मैं आप लोग को एक छोटी सी बात बताता हूँ. आज से लगभग 10 साल पहले जब मैं कभी किसी से मिलता था, कोई मुझे इंट्रोड्यूस करता था कि ये साइकेट्रिस्ट हैं, तो सामने वाले इंसान का रिएक्शन या तो उसको थोड़ा वो हंसता था या फिर कहता था अच्छा आप साइकेट्रिस्ट हैं, कोई कहानी बताइए, इस टाइप की चीजें होती थी. तो उसको उतना सीरियसली 10 साल पहले भी नहीं लिया था. आज की तारीख में अगर हम लोग किसी से भी मिलते हैं तो पीपल आर वेरी इंटरेस्टेड. और सर हर मीटिंग के बाद कोई एक आदमी आके अकेले में बोलता है कि डॉक्टर साहब एक बात पूछनी थी आपसे. राइट? ऐसा आज तक हुआ ही नहीं कि मैं किसी गैदरिंग में गया हूँ और उसके आखिरी में 2 लोगों ने आके मुझसे बात ना की अलग से. तो इट्स गुड. आई मीन इट्स अ बिट ऑफ इन्फ्रिंजमेंट इन माय प्राइवेसी, बट एटलीस्ट आई फील गुड कि पीपल आर नाउ टॉकिंग अबाउट इट. तो आई मीन वी हैव कम अ लॉन्ग वे. अभी बहुत मंजिल बाकी, सफर बाकी है, बट ठीक है, वी आर ऑप्टिमिस्टिक. चीजें अच्छी हो रही हैं, भगवान ने चाहा तो और अच्छी होंगी.
Thank you very much.
Aditya, can you
I think
share
there
the
is
award?
there is another question. Excuse me, there is another question from Fatima ma'am.
Okay.
Like what to do with the depressed people who are not ready to come for treatment? How to get them treated?
Fatima ma'am, again, see, first of all, I'm sorry, but it depressed people does not look good, right? It is like we are putting a tag on them. You are a depressed person, right? Depression is something that is not permanent. Today they are having depression, tomorrow it will go away. So I think आपका वो intention नहीं है. But let's not use such words, depressed people or schizophrenic people. थोड़ा सा ना negative connotation चला जाता है. Second चीज मैम, you are saying who are not ready to come for treatment. Now this is a very important question and an important problem. People are not ready to take treatment, and I can very well say that the reason why that particular person is not ready to take treatment is he or she is undergoing one of those struggles that I just talked about. Either the person is struggling with the first part, that I'm not depressed, I'm just being lazy, or I'm just being tired, or I'm just not putting enough effort. Or the person might be having a thought that if I accept that I'm having depression, it means I'm weak and people will laugh at me, people will make fun of me. Or the third thing, she might be or he might be having the thought that if I take treatment, I'll be put on some sleeping pills and I would have to continue them for the entire life. So the reason for not being receptive to treatment needs to be identified, and after that the solution would not be that difficult. तो आपके जो भी ये हैं जो who is not ready to take treatment, या फिर अगर ये बस theoretical question है तो उस केस में भी if somebody is not ready to take treatment, we have to identify the cause. Once we identify the cause, often it becomes better. And ma'am, nowadays there are so many sources available. You can just forward one of the videos available on YouTube, and when once people start, see, this is a very interesting thing that happens. A lot of people comment on my YouTube that when you were speaking, I felt that this was my story. How did you know about it? Right? This is a very common comment. And usually I'm not able to reply to any of the YouTube comments, but my answer is because all the stories are same. I mean, they are boringly same. The problem progresses in exactly same fashion. That is why even before you start saying anything, I know what you will say. But that has a good impact. When a person looks at a video and he says that ये तो मेरे साथ होता है, this is exactly what I am going through, then he's also likely to accept कि आप जो बता रहे हो कि ये depression और treatment लो, he is likely to accept that advice too. So sharing one of the videos goes a long way in helping these kind of people.
Thank you so much. Aditya, can you share the award, please? Jayashree. Gayatri will speak about. Maybe first he is showing. Praveenji Tripathi. Yes, speak up.
No, it's really nice. Thank you.
We thank Dr. Praveen Tripathi for giving us his valuable time this morning and his insights regarding overthinking, reasons and ways to overcome the loop would really enhance our members' everyday stress management. Thank you very much, sir, for this wonderful knowledge. And as a small token of appreciation, we would like to present you with a memento on behalf of Arogya Foundation Bangalore chapter. And we wish to have your continued support for Foundation and lend a hand in transforming lives. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Aditya, next Vivek, sir.
So many thanks, Praveen ji.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me, sir.
Aditya, next Vivek sir ke liye, and then Aran Mehta ji will speak up, please.
Stick to the point. Function ಅನಾವಶ್ಯಕವಾದ ಭಾಷಣಗಳು ಏನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ.
I would like to thank Dr. Vivek Javali for
Politicians ಇರ್ಲಿ ಅವರೇ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ತೀನಲ್ಲ ನಗರದಲ್ಲೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ PS ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
Present has been motivating for all of our members and we welcome you to Arogya Foundation Bangalore chapter. We also hope to have your continuous support towards our function. Sir, we would like to present a small memento behalf of Arogya Foundation Bangalore chapter as a token of appreciation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You are most welcome.
Okay. आदित्य उनका भी दे दो, लता जी का भी एक बार स्क्रीन पे शेयर कर दो. But still you have written or not? Speak about her.
We are very delighted to have Lata ji, who has been our first Arogya webinar programmer. The talk has enhanced knowledge and understanding for all of us. We are going to have Lata ji's continuous support for our foundation. Looking forward to have her in our upcoming gathering as well. Thank you, madam, for joining us.
अब हमारे बीच में आज डॉक्टर आरएन मेहता जी हैं और ग्रामोत्थान की तरफ से नरेश जी भी है. तो पहले हम चाहेंगे कि डॉक्टर आरएन मेहता जी बोले.
आरएन मेहता जी बोलिए ना.
अवनीश माता जी का और नरेश जी का बाकी है.
अवनीश जी माता our national president
जी बोलेंगे फिर नरेश जी. Sorry.
Our national president Avnish ji Mata, they will call first, then Naresh ji.
Yeah.
Please, Avnish ji Mata.
Namaskar to everyone. First of all, my apologies, Sarita Didi, aapko, and also to Makhan Bhai ji. I was already delivering a lecture on a professional platform since morning, so I was supposed to be free by 12 o'clock. So my apologies, I couldn't join earlier. So I missed Dr. Javali's discourse. And I'm sure the way he spoke about certain issues, though I'll touch upon it a little later. And then I heard Dr. Tripathi to fullest extent. And my congratulations to Makhanji and Sarita Didi. The best part of Bangalore chapter is you have taken us to a different level. I mean, the kind of deliberations you are having on each month basis. This is something different, and we all other chapters, I need to ask them to kindly roll out these kind of programs. Yes, we do work on rural side, but what is important is to keep together my flock in the cities. I think these programs will help and give a lot of strength to us as foundation as well as for Ekal movement. I can see Naresh Bhai as well as I can see Damani ji here as part of Ekal Movement's Trust Board. So my respect and compliments to them for giving Arogya this kind of support and motivation. Another good thing, what I understand in Bangalore chapter is a lot of young faces I can see here, which I mean, starting from Nalin and other friends here, the young crowd I find missing in my other chapters. So again, I'll request my other chapters to join in one of your programs and see the kind of youngsters who have been motivated to be part of this, movement of Ekal on Arogya side.
हमारे सबसे यंगस्टर माखन जी हैं.
मैं उस पे आने वाला था, आपने कह दिया, so I'll not touch upon that now. I would like to thank Dr. Tripathi the way he has deliberated, and I also understand because my father, who was an engineer, had his office next to a department in our Wellington Hospital, New Delhi, which was next to the psychiatrist department. So it's almost 40 years back. From there to now, the whole lot of things have changed, and it is changed for good. And Didi, you mentioned about having 200 people. I think these 40, 50 people are no less than 200 people. Now, the way this information is transmitted, gone into, communicated into these at least 40 families, you can rest assured that this 40 will be at least 400 people, target audience. So rest assured on that. And the way Dr. Tripathi spoke about the progression in this area, I think that kind of what we call stigma is now not being looked at, especially in middle class and upper class of citizenry. Now I'll just conclude by making a comment about Dr. Vivek Jawali's issue, what he raised about having cultural and cross-cultural issues which we need to take care of. I just want to rest him assured that why work in the native areas and with the ethnic people, with the local populace only. Yes, certainly in the cities we do have language barriers in terms of, or language, I'll not say conflict, but differences or these kind of issues cropping up, Hindi, English and whatnot. But this is primarily at a city level you will find. And when we work in the field, it is the local native and ethnic languages we work with, and the people, because they belong to that area. So we have taken care of that. But I will also like to convey that we used to work very deep into Tamil Nadu. We had a center in Coimbatore, but because the doctor, unfortunately, he expired a couple of years back, who was taking care of our work there. But still, we are trying to rebuild. That is how the Bangalore chapter has taken cudgels, and I'm sure we are going to see way forward and re-establish in Tamil Nadu. When it comes to Karnataka, we already have a good team in Belgaum, and Belgaum does a lot of work on eye cares, and medical camps and these kind of initiatives. So I will again request Makhanji and with the cooperation of Sundarji Damaniji, that we can have a uniform way of thinking, and we would like to reactivate, because Belgaum does a lot of work and you must be getting reports. So I will once again thank Dr. Jawali to raise this issue, so that we are careful, and we will certainly take that with due regard, and we will take appropriate recourse and action, so that these kind of issues are taken care of. Wherever there is a cross-cultural kind of conflicts coming, we will try to reduce it. And when we work in whole lot of area, be it Gujarat or be it on the eastern side of the country, or be it anywhere else in Rajasthan and all that, we do not find any issue when it comes to the language barrier. Sir, once again, Dr. Tripathi, Dr. Jawali, and all my friends here, thanks once again for joining this program and creating a good vibe for Arogya and Arogya Yojana and Arogya Foundation of India. Thank you once again. Thanks for all your blessings. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
अब मैं नरेश जी से निवेदन करूंगा कि अपना मार्गदर्शन दे। आने वाले सब वक्ताओं से रिक्वेस्ट जरूर है कि समय को देखते हुए 2-2 मिनट में समय निकालें। नरेश जी।
Thank you, Ji. Thank you very much. Compliments to Bangalore Arogya chapter. Wonderful job, wonderful work which you have done. Amnish Bhai, thank you very much. Damani Ji, thank you. You know what, I am motivated that next time मैं आप लोगों को request करने वाला हूँ कि जब आप लोगों के next program होंगे, तो please invite me. I found it so interesting, so motivating.
Sure.
And lovely and to the point. I want to say Dr. Javali was his comments and his thoughts about Ekal, giving suggestion about language and other things was so thoughtful. Ki if I would like to, with folded hands, request Dr. Javali, ki agar the way he looks, he presents himself, the experience he has got, if he can spare some time and lead us into Arogya, we can benefit a lot of masses. So we are sensitized about this language issue, Dr. Because we are running thousands and thousands of schools in different parts of the South India also, and various entire part of the country with different language barriers and other things. And we do take care of local languages, and in schools we teach in their local languages also. So, but your observation was absolutely to the mark. We accept and take it. Thank you very much. Dr. Tripathi, मैं आप लोगों से एक शेयर करना चाहता हूँ कि इन्होंने बोला था stigma and all that. I am about 66 now, and about 30 years back, जब थोड़ा इतना लोगों में stigma तो लगता है problem, so I went to psychiatrist, and some people who said कि तेरे को लोग पागल बोलेंगे. I said, I mean, आप लोग पागल हो जो पागल बोलने की बात कर रहे हो, because I had some knowledge that chemical imbalance जो डॉक्टर साहब ने बताया, that is true. Why I'm sharing this is that you don't care about दूसरा क्या बोलेगा. You have to first of all care about your health. So you have to promote that कि भाई अपनी health करो. These chemical balances do take care. And I'm not ashamed of saying that by God's grace, I am in a good position of the society financially and business wise. And I openly share with everybody that, okay, I have been on medication and often and I do consult still. What's wrong? आप headache के blood pressure के लिए लेते हो. What is the same thing as Dr. Sahab was saying? So एक question था आपने one of the participants का about how to take him. It's just a matter. I have taken hundreds of people to psychiatrist treatment, and their families, they themselves are very thankful that I could convince them and take them. So I'm thankful to God that He gave me that strength. So I invite all of you to please try to convince people, those who need, and it is nothing wrong, nothing wrong. With these, sorry about taking minutes, but thank you very, very much for giving me opportunity. And
मैं नेक्स्ट में दवानी साहब को आमंत्रित करता हूं. उससे पहले एक दृष्टता करना चाहता हूं. डॉक्टर जवाली साहब के बिहाफ पर मैं ये घोषणा करना चाहता हूं कि हमारी टीम ने डॉक्टर जवाली साहब से आग्रह किया है, रिक्वेस्ट किया है, एंड ही एग्रीड टू बिकम अवर मेंबर, अवर पार्ट ऑफ आरोग्य. सो प्लीज क्लैप्स टू डॉक्टर जवाली. उनका मार्गदर्शन, उनकी सोच बिल्कुल एकल की ही है, आरोग्य की है. एंड ही इज वेरी बिजी, बट ही गिवन एक्सेप्टेंस टू अस, ही विल जॉइन अस. अब दमानी साहब से निवेदन करूंगा कि दक्षिण भारत के विश्व पितामह हैं दमानी जी, दो शब्द बोले.
Congratulations to Arogya chapter of Bangalore, Sarita ji and all team members, and special guidance of Sri Makhan ji. The last 6 months, the way that Bangalore chapter, Arogya chapter has come up and have taken the webinars which are of current issues. It's a today's topic which has been taken for this webinar selection. It's a very, very sensitive, and we shy with that disease. It's a very, very informative as well as encouraging all of us that whatever the disease, we should not shy with that, and we should immediately consult the specialist. That was Dr. Saab has also given in his lecture today. And once again, thank you and pranam to all. Thanks. नरेश कुमार जी आए, उनका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है, और हम आपको हमेशा नेक्स्ट जो हमारी वेबिनार रहेगी, we will definitely invite you, sir. Thanks.
अब मैं थैंक्स अपने जैसे हमेशा बताते हैं 5 आयाम है, 5 आयाम है, तो FTS हमारा सबसे बड़ा भाई है. हमारा नंबर तो दूसरा तीसरे में आता है, तीसरे चौथे में आता है आरोग्य का. और हमारा सौभाग्य है कि FTS के विमल जी सरावगी हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, यहाँ के कार्यकारी अध्यक्ष है. मैं उनसे निवेदन करूंगा कि एज ए बड़े भाई हमको आशीर्वाद दें. विमल जी सरावगी.
जय सियाराम भाई साहब और सभी को एकल प्रणाम। आज ये वर्चुअल मीटिंग जो हुई है सरिता भंसाली जी और आप लोगों की वजह से इतनी ज्ञानवर्धक मीटिंग हुई है, और डॉक्टर विवेक जावली जी जो कि यहाँ के बहुत ही फेमस डॉक्टर हैं, मैं खुद भी उनसे मिल चुका हूँ। डॉक्टर त्रिपाठी जी, इन्होंने इतनी अच्छी बातें बताई हैं आरोग्य के सिलसिले में कि भाई आज के दिन यदि कोई रोग है तो उसको दूर करने की आवश्यकता है, न कि शर्म की वजह से अपने नहीं जाएं और नहीं बताएं।
आपका ऑडियो भाई साहब थोड़ा
की बात है। हेलो।
हाँ पूरा, हाँ यस।
और सबसे बड़ी बात यह है, खुशी की बात है कि डॉक्टर विवेक जावली जी एकल से जुड़ रहे हैं। ये हम लोगों का सौभाग्य है। आज पंचमुखी विकास एकल में हो रहा है, इसमें दो राय नहीं है, लेकिन ये आरोग्य का जो क्षेत्र अपने लोग बेंगलोर में चालू कर रहे हैं, आप लोगों के प्रयास से सरिता भंसाली जी काफी रूप से इसमें लगी हुई हैं। मैं बहुत ही शुभकामनाएं देता हूं और ये बहुत ही आवश्यक है। आज गांव में जो जिस तरीके से शिक्षा की आवश्यकता है, उस तरीके से ही लोगों को आरोग्य करने की आवश्यकता है। अपने लोग स्वास्थ्य से सही होंगे तो ही अच्छी शिक्षा ग्रहण कर सकते हैं और सारे कार्य कर सकते हैं। मेरी बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। आज नरेश जी जुड़े हुए हैं, गमानी साहब को मैं हमारे गुरु हैं, मैं नतमस्तक करता हूं। और आप सभी लोग प्रबुद्ध हैं और आज जैसी वर्चुअल मीटिंग हमेशा होनी चाहिए ताकि हम लोगों को स्वास्थ्य के बारे में भी जानकारी बराबर होती रहे। सभी को बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं और बधाइयाँ। कन्नड़ राज्योत्सव के दिन की शुभकामनाएं। आज का दिन और भी पवित्र कर दिया आज इस वर्चुअल मीटिंग के द्वारा। धन्यवाद।
अब अध्यक्ष महोदय अगर आज्ञा दें सरिता जी तो मैं 2 मिनट मैं ले लूं।
हाँ, अब आपका ही वक्त है।
2-3 विषय आए थे। डॉक्टर जवाड़ी साहब ने जो बताया है, मैं उनको आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूँ और पूरे संगठन को आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूँ कि उनके बहुत सुंदर सुझाव और उन्हीं सुझावों पर हम कार्य कर रहे हैं। जहां तक भाषा का संबंध है, मुझे बताते हुए अत्यंत हर्ष हो रहा है कि हमारे यहाँ पर एक ट्रेनिंग टीम का गठन किया गया है, जिसमें हर्षिनी जी, डॉक्टर ज्योति लक्ष्मी, मिसेज पवित्रा, मिसेज सुमा, सरयू निवास, डॉक्टर कुसुम, ये 5 लोग 6 लोग लगातार जो भी वहां से साहित्य आ रहा है हिंदी और इंग्लिश में, उसको कर्नाटक में कन्वर्ट कर रहे हैं और लगभग 90% काम कर दिया है। इन्होंने अपनी ट्रेनिंग फैकल्टी भी बनाई है। मैंने तो इनको कहा था कि वर्चुअल सविका ट्रेनिंग कॉलेज ऐसी बना लो, लेकिन उसके लिए केंद्र से भी अनुमति मिलनी है। पर इनके पास पूरी ट्रेनिंग फैकल्टी है, भाषा का कमांड है और सारा कन्वर्जन किया है, और इसलिए मैं इन 5 को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ। दूसरा, हमारे क्षेत्र के अंदर 30 सेविकाओं का आइडेंटिफिकेशन, 30 गांवों का आइडेंटिफिकेशन कर लिया गया है। थोड़ा सा इस मामले में हम धीरे रहे, मैं अपनी गलती स्वीकार करता हूँ, लेकिन दिसंबर एंड तक हम विधिवत ट्रेनिंग शुरू करवा देंगे और कार्य प्रारंभ कर देंगे, ऐसा हमारा आश्वासन है आप सभी को। इस कार्य के लिए अपने प्रमुख लता जी, कुमार गौड़ा जी और बाला सुब्रमण्यम जी, इनका हमको पूरा सहयोग मिला है। अब हमारी जो टीम है, अपने घर में तारीफ करने की बात है पर रहा नहीं जाता। एक बहुत सुंदर टीम, मतलब किसी भी संगठन को चलाने के लिए अगर एक बहुत अच्छी टीम होती है तो काम अपने आप चलता है। तो हमारे सरिता जी हैं, जयश्री जी हैं, नलिन जी हैं, रमेश जी जैन, पवन कुमार जी गर्ग, गायत्री जी रेड्डी और 2 युवा सुमित कुमार जी और हर्षिनी जी लगातार अविरल रूप से इसके कार्य में लगे हुए हैं। और ये हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ा सौभाग्य है कि सभी अपना कार्य बहुत अच्छी गति से कर रहे हैं। मेंबर्स की दृष्टि से भी वैसे हमारे 2 तरह के ग्रुप है। एक तो सिंपैथाइजर का है, तो उसमें करीबन 200 लोग हैं, लेकिन पेड फीस वाले हम धीरे धीरे आगे कर रहे हैं, तो वो करीबन 25 बन गए हैं। उनमें 3 लाइफ मेंबर भी हैं और मैं नेशनल अध्यक्ष साहब बैठे हैं, उनको पूर्ण आश्वस्त करता हूं कि दिसंबर तक हम 100 का आंकड़ा पार कर जाएंगे। और व्यवस्थित रूप से कैसे चलना, मतलब सरिता जी का इतना बढ़िया गाइडेंस रहता है कि हमको सोचने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती। कई बार हमको कहता है कि उनके साथ हम दौड़ कैसे पाएंगे बराबर लगातार। और ऐसा ही डॉक्टर कैलासन जी है, तो कैलासन जी का स्नेह, उनके संस्कार, उनकी सोच हमको बहुत प्रेरणा देती है। इतना कहकर मैं वाणी को विराम देता हूँ और अगला कार्यक्रम नलिन जी क्या है बताएं।
नलिन, ऑलमोस्ट वी आर डन, बट अगर कोई कुछ बोलना चाहे अपने गेस्ट में से, वी कैन गिव देम टाइम, वी हैव टाइम। लता इज देयर? नलिन देख लेगा and he'll ask if anybody wants to speak up, please.
जी, कोई भी अपने विचार रखना चाहे तो सादर आमंत्रित है।
चलो, कल्याण मंत्र।
Aditya, we never get volume C, na, please.
वॉल्यूम नहीं आ रहा है?
नहीं आ रहा आदित्य, we don't get the volume at all.
उसमें ओम में भी नहीं आया था
मुझे।
वर्बली कर लीजिए।
हाँ, मैनुअली कर लेते हैं।
हाँ, मैनुअली।
नलिन जी बोलो।
शांति शांति। बधाई है सरिता जी, इतनी बढ़िया वेबिनार।
धन्यवाद, बहुत बहुत बधाई।
थैंक यू सो मच।
बहुत लंबी लंबी।
धन्यवाद धन्यवाद।
बहुत लंबी लंबी बधाइयाँ मिल रही है।
काम भी बहुत करती हैं जी। थैंक यू।
मुझे 100 जन चाहिए।
आपको अभी साउथ को लीड करना है, खाली बेंगलोर तक नहीं है।
मैं आपको बताऊं, राम जी को जब साउथ के हनुमान जी मिले तभी वो भगवान बने हैं, उसके पहले वो राजा राम थे। तो इस एकल को भगवान राम साउथ ही बनाएगा।
सही फरमाया आपने, सही
फरमाया। आज का टॉपिक जबरदस्त था जी। हम लोग संगते हैं साइकोलॉजिस्ट के पास जाना, वो करना, काफी मतलब क्लैरिटी।
साइकोलॉजिस्ट के पास जाने का मतलब होता है कि कोई छुपाने वाला काम हो रहा है।
वो बोलते हैं। इसीलिए मैंने वो प्रश्न किया था कि वो स्टिग्मा वाला प्रश्न जो है, अगर समझाना सोसाइटी में सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी है। नरेश कुमार जी अपने इलस्ट्रेशन दिए। बिल्कुल, क्योंकि वो उसके कारण से कई लोग नहीं जाते हैं।
डॉक्टर अवनीश जी एंड डॉक्टर आर.एन. मेहता जी, अब बैंगलोर का जब भी कोई वेबिनार हो, प्लीज आप इसको ज्यादा से ज्यादा पब्लिसाइज करिए। नेक्स्ट टाइम के लिए ऑलरेडी एक हिटिंग टॉपिक तैयार है।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। आपको जो हम तो चाहेंगे कि इसमें ऑल इंडिया सब जगह से जुड़े ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोग, और उसके लिए आप एडवांस में हमें जब अपना डिसाइड हो जाएगा तो बाकी सब चैप्टर्स को भी और सब स्टेट्स में भिजवा देंगे उसका।
कम से कम 10-15 दिन पहले सरिता जी बाई फोन इनको सूचित करो। मैसेज डाल देते हैं।
तो हम क्या करेंगे कि दूसरों को सबको कहेंगे।
ठीक है, मैं आपको
सुचेता जी खोलिए अभी तो आप। बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। सुचेता जी अनम्यूट कीजिए।
कौन है? सुचिता है क्या?
सुचेता है ना, वो अनम्यूट कर नहीं रही है, अपना फोटो है। सत्यम जी।
सत्यम जी मत, छुपा ही रहता है कभी।
ताऊ जी राम राम जी। अब तो फोटो ले आओ भाई, अभी तो आप सब बोल सकते हैं, आपस में बात कर सकते हैं।
हाँ, अभी फ्री हैं।
आपका सुंदर चेहरा दिखाइए सही हमें।
अरे आज काफी
नमस्कार सत्यम जी।
राम 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 राम।
आइए जी, बहुत दिनों बाद में दिखे यार।
कल गंगावती गया था तो रात को आते आते 2 बज गए थे, तो बहुत लेट से उठा।
तो कब कर रहे हैं आप?
लक्ष्मी, जो अभी हमारे बेंगलोर आरोग्य योजना में जुड़ी हुई है, इफ शी वुड लाइक टू शेयर समथिंग, मे आई वेलकम।
हाँ, डॉक्टर ज्योति लक्ष्मी का बहुत सपोर्ट अपने को, बोलिए।
बिल्कुल बुलाइए। बहुत अच्छे डॉक्टर्स जुड़ रहे हैं आपके, बहुत ये प्रभु की कृपा है। आज जो आपने लाए हैं डॉक्टर, ये भी कोई कम नहीं है भाई, सब अपने फील्ड के एक्सपर्ट हैं और
रियल में।
और डॉक्टर जावड़ी साहब अपने मेंबर बन रहे हैं।
मांझी कर्नाटका में ही मिले थे।
Dr. Jyoti Lakshmi is unmuted. If you can share your views, Jyoti. Dr. Jyoti, please.
Namaskar. Hello, everybody. It was very nice meeting all of you. The meeting is excellent. And the talk by Dr. Javli and all of you, Makhanji, to he keeps praising everybody. That's a nice way, sir. That is the secret of happiness of most of the people. When you keep praising others, you will be very happy. I wanted to tell even Dr. Tripathi that you should have told your patient to be grateful to things that can keep you happy, isn't it? So I'm very happy to be part of this and looking forward to start in the villages. So thank you all. Thank you, Sarita ji. Thank you, Dr. Jayashri, for pulling me into this.
बहुत बधाई है आपको।
Thank you, Dr.
नलिन जी,
Jyoti.
कितना बढ़िया एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन।
And Dr. Jyoti, we will, start, we'll be going to the village